financial services, right, it's not about a product. And that's always been the misunderstanding about financial planning. Everybody is selling a product. Everybody's selling a financial product. Everybody's selling insurance. So everybody's selling a service, but no one is selling a plan, right? No one is putting together plans for families. And that's what we're going to talk about. Why is it that when you sit down with a client, you must do their needs analysis, right? Why is this needs analysis important? It's because it covers 4 things, right? When you do someone's needs analysis, it's so that way you could cover 4 things for that client and that family. Every family must know why, how, have a goal with a plan. But you can't put together this solution or show them the game plan until you gather this information. So when you sit down with a client, don't focus on selling a product. Don't focus on just closing a solution and making a sale. Make it your habit to do a needs analysis. Because until you know what's going on, how can you go ahead and show them what they need to do? So let's talk about this needs analysis. When you sit down with a client for the first time, right? When you sit down with this client for the very first time, and you're sitting with this client and you're saying, hey, client, welcome. Obviously you build that rapport. One of the key things that is important, if you're not asking your clients, what is it that concerns them about their finances, you're already doing a disservice. You got to know what's the concern. You got to know what is the problem with the client and take notes, right? Take notes of that. You got to remember, you're not an insurance agent, okay? You're not an insurance agent. You are a financial educator, all right? You're a financial educator and a business coach. You're here to educate people and provide not only planning and also services. So you educate to plan, then provide services. It's not the other way around. It's not service, then plan. So you educate and you put together the financial plan with the services, right? Teach them, plan with them, then service them. So once you educate them, then you get to the plan where we're going to find out what is that concern you. So here, when you're gathering this information, basic information you gather with your client, the date. Always date when you start, right? Always date when you start helping your clients. Number 2, write down your client's name. Right? Write down their name, their date of birth. Check off if they're smoker or non-smoker. Write down their spouse's name if they have one. What's the spouse's date of birth? If they're a smoker or non-smoker. What's their address? Now, most of the time, some people don't feel comfortable giving you their address. Not everybody is comfortable giving you their address. So what I like to take down, what's the city and state that you live in? What is the city and state? And then you also want to gather a contact number. You want to get their contact number and email. Why? Right? In the other illustrations, what I would even encourage you to do, even if this F&A sheet doesn't have it, also take down their kid's name and date of birth. Right? Write down their kid's name and date of birth as well. Why? It's because you use this section right here, okay, to put together what's known as illustration. You want to put together illustrations for your client. That's what you use this section for. You gather enough information to where you can put together illustrations and strategies for your client, right? And that's what you use this information for. So once you have their name, date of birth, if they're smoker, non-smoker, the state that they live in, right? That's give you enough information to run an illustration and put together strategies for your client. Okay? So without this information, you don't have much to work with. You need this level of information for the entire family, right? Mom, dad, kids, so on. Now, when you gather this section right here, it's very important that you do it in the following manner. When you take down the future goals, right? Their future goals. It's important that you write down the age that they want to retire. So for example, if someone wants to retire, let's say at 65, it's important to ask them, how much income would you want coming in also at 65? Let's say that they say they want 5K. Write that down. Right? You write that down. Because now that's going to give you an idea of what they want during retirement. And then you check off if they want a home, if they want to have long-term care in place, right? If they want to retire their parents, if they want to put together educational planning for their children, and write down the amount of children that they may have. You know, how many vacations do they like to go on, and how would they like to travel, or where they want to travel with. Write down their goals. You got to know what are the goals of your client. What are the goals? But most importantly, when you learn about this particular goal right here, the retirement goal, once you have this number and this number here, it helps you to put together their FIN, right? Their FIN number. If no one ever teach you the FIN, you're going to learn it here very quickly. So once you have that information, it helps you to learn the FIN, because the FIN is important to know. Once again, how are you going to be able to help your clients and talk to them about their why if they don't know their FIN? So it's very crucial. You want to make sure that this is a very important thing to know for your client, right? Because it goes back to why. We're going to talk more about that, right? We're going to talk about that. Now, when we talk about gathering their monthly income, you realistically want to know two things. You want to know what is their net income, what they take home after taxes, and if they have any extra side income coming in, right? How much are you taking in after taxes? What's your income after taxes? If you're an entrepreneur, if they're an entrepreneur, how much are they taking home on a monthly basis, right? What's their discretionary income? Like, do they have any side income coming in? Do they receive child support, alimony, stuff like that? What extra income do they have coming in monthly on top of what they already earn? You want those two things. And then right off the gate, in the first meet, I just like to know what's their total monthly expenses, right? What is their total monthly expenses? Why is it that I need these three things? These three things help me to put together their budgeting plan, right? That's why we use those three things, to put together their budget. They need to have a budget plan, okay? They gotta have a budgeting plan. Now, do I need to go through all of this on the first meet, right? Do I need to go through all of this on the first meet with my clients? No, that's a lot of information. That's more for homework. I give them this as a homework. I tell them to go write down all of their monthly expenses. Write down what is their monthly expenses and what is the amount. And what is the date that they're due. Right? That's their homework. Now, when it comes down to gathering information about their assets, right, down here, most people will ask them, what's the dollar amount for each thing here? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Why would you do that? Most of the time, people don't know what their house value is right now. That's more for homework. So all these questions right here are either yes or no, right? These are yes or no questions. The first meet, this should be a yes or no question, right? Yes or no. You can't sit here and ask people to tell you how much is in their bank account. Most people don't want you to know those type of details. But you can find out what assets they have. Why? Why do you need to know what assets that they currently own? It's because, one, we're going to talk about estate planning, right? You got to talk about asset protection, right? We got to protect these assets. Because one of my questions I like to ask after I go to this yes or no questions here is, hey, right now, do you currently have a will and a trust? And 9 out of 10 times, people are going to tell you yes or no. 9 out of 10 times, they're going to tell you yes or no. And if they don't have an estate plan, you need to help them to get one, right? Now, when it comes down to their debt on the first meet, I like to ask them, what's the total amount? Right now, I just want an estimate. What is the total amount? Right? I want to know that. This is my main thing on the first meet. I'm not looking for the exact amount, but as an estimate, what is the total amount that you currently have right now? Because then I'm going to teach them debt management. Right? That's what they're going to be learning from me. By me gathering all this, once again, this will be homework. Right? This will be homework for them. Because what I wanted them to learn is debt management. Right? Why do I want just to gather this information? Because this information requires them to know, not only do they need to know, number one, how much do you owe? What is the balance? Right? What is the APR? If you know what the APR is, the annual percentage rate, right? What is the interest? And then what is the minimum payment that is required? Okay? These are the three things when it comes pertaining to your debt that I would like to know. So that way I can show them strategies how to pay that debt down. And that's why in the first meet, all I really need right now is, the total estimate. What is the estimate total? And then after that, I just want to know how much can they save, right? How much can they save every month, or how much are they saving every month? Because I need to know what is their saving habit right now. How much are they saving and how much can they save? Right? That habit needs to be established. And whatever they choose to check off, that's what I'm going to use to put together protection for their dime. Right? That's what I'm going to use to put together asset protection. Because if we're going to make sure that every one of our clients is always good, we got to make sure that we protect their assets. Right? So we use this to create a stronger financial foundation with, but most importantly, we show them how to protect their dime properly. Right? And if you don't know what dime is for their debt, income, mortgage, and education, planning for their children. We show them how to structure that. So that's what the intake is all about, right? So everywhere that you see there's a highlight, once again, let's go over it. You always want to write down the date, the client's name, date of birth. Are they smoker or non-smoker? Right? Not just for your client, but also for their spouse. When it comes to their address, city and state, I normally like to ask them for their cell number and an email. Right? I keep it simple, right? That's what I want from my client. And I keep it simple for that first meet. Now, by gathering that information, that should realistically take you about 5 minutes to gather that intake really quick. It's a quick intake, right? Quick intake. You should gather this information in 5 minutes so that way you have time to then go over this with them. Because every client must say, okay, now that I got that information, let me show you what I'm going to do with this information. Not because that's what most people wonder, you know. I'm giving you all this information for what? Why am I giving you all this information? What is the purpose of you having this information? I'm giving you this information for what? Everybody always wonder, why must I give you all of this information about my finances for what purpose? Well, the purpose is this. It's so that I can help you know why, how, a goal, and a plan. That's why I gather all that information. So why? Why do we gather all that information? It's for number one, so we can teach families their FIN number. That's why. What is your FIN number? Your FIN number is your final income number. What is your final income number does? It teaches you, one, about what you need to plan for your retirement. If you're not planning for your retirement, it's because no one ever teach you, number one, how much do you need in order to retire? And number two, you never got taught what you need to save. That's what we're doing. That's why it's important for you to know your FIN number. That's why it's crucial to know your FIN number. You got to know how much you need in order to retire, and you also got to know what you got to save in order to reach that retirement. So if you don't know this for yourself, it's because no one ever teach you it. But you have to learn it, because if you don't know why you need to save, you ask the average individual why they got to save today, they have no clue. But our clients got to know this. Our clients must learn why they need to save. Why it's important for us to save for our retirement. Why we must know what we need in order to retire. You got to know this. This is such an important thing right here. Knowing what you need. Because if we don't know what we need, how can we succeed within our finances? So once you know why, the how becomes easy. But what is the how? How do we get better with saving? Well, it starts with budgeting. It starts with a budgeting plan, right? If you're going to put together a budgeting plan, it's for two reasons. Number one, you're going to help your client to know, well, how much they should save. And then number two, how much they should spend. If you don't know these two things right here, how much to save and how much to spend, if you don't know these two things, then you don't have a budget plan in place right now. If you don't know these two things, you do not have a budget plan in place right now. Because budgeting is not about tracking spending. Budgeting is about knowing how much you can save and how much you can spend before you do either one of them. So it is so crucial for our clients to know this as well. They got to know budgeting. So once you know how much you can save, right? Once you know how much you can save, then what you take with that savings is to execute the goal. What is the goal? The goal is to create a financial foundation. A strong one at that. But you want to have a financial foundation, a very strong foundation when it comes to your finances. That's what we do for our clients. And by doing so is by establishing 4 things, right? 4 things we must do to have a stronger financial foundation. Number one, We gotta have proper protection. Okay? We gotta have proper protection. You can't sit down with a client and not establish proper protection. Proper protection needs to put in place for our clients to establish 4 things, right? But we're going to talk about that. But before we get to the proper protection, what are those 4 things? You got to think about the 3 events that you're protecting your family and your clients from. 3 events that they can't predict. They can't predict when they're going to die. They can't predict when they're going to get sick. You can't predict when they're going to become disabled. So these are the 3 events that our clients must have proper protection in place for if we're going to do a proper protection for them. There's no way we can sit here and say that we have proper protection in place for our clients if we do not think about those 3 events. What if our clients get sick? What if they die? What if they become disabled? And these are 3 events we cannot predict, and we must put proper protection in place for our clients if that's how we create a financial foundation. That's the first thing we have to do. And there's 4 things we have to do to make that happen. That's another conversation. We'll talk more about that. Number 2, we got to teach them how to manage their debt. We got to teach them how to manage their debt. If our clients don't learn how to manage their debt, every time they get into debt, they're going to always feel stuck. If we don't teach them how to pay down their debt and build up their credit, they're going to always feel stuck, dependent, and they won't know how to overcome these challenges. You're going to always acquire some type of debt. You're a homeowner, you're a debt owner. You own a car and you finance it, you are a debt owner. You use your credit card, you are a debt owner. So no matter what, you're going to always have some interaction with debt if you ever want to own any assets. Okay? No matter what. There's no way to go around it. There's no way. You need debt in order to build credit. Okay? So we just got to teach our clients how to manage debt. So we show them how to pay down their debt and build up their credit at the same time while they cover it. Number 3, we're going to teach our clients the importance of having an emergency fund. Right? Our clients must learn how to have an emergency fund. Why? Our clients must have 3 to 6 months of their income saved or put to the side. Our clients must understand the fundamentals of having 3 to 6 months of their income saved up. Why? Because they can't predict when they're going to have a bad situation. They can't predict when they're going to lose their job. They can't predict if they're going to have a disaster going on. They can't predict when the boiler is going to blow out. They can't predict when they need a new transmission in their car. They can't predict when they're going to need new tires on their car. They can't predict these things. So we have to have 3 to 6 months of our emergency funds set to the side, and we show our clients how to do that. Number 4, we show our families and our clients how to save. Right? How to save. We show them how to save their money so that way they could invest it if they could put it away, or they could put that money to go to work for them, right? So if you're going to build a strong financial foundation, these are 4 things that we teach our clients. Because our clients must learn these 4 things. They must understand these 4 things. And it's not something you're going to learn one by one. No, you're going to learn all 4 of these things simultaneously. Right? Because you got to be strong in all 4 of these departments. You got to be strong in these 4 departments. Because when it's all said and done, you got to protect your family and yourself. You got to manage your debt, and you have to have an emergency fund, and you got to learn how to save your money so that way it can grow for you. So when it's all said and done, what's the plan? The plan is to protect your wealth. You got to protect your wealth. What's the use of building wealth and losing it? What's the use of building wealth for our clients and they're not able to pass it down? What's the use of making our clients wealthy if they can't pass it down? What's the use of them becoming just a memory and never become a legacy? We are here and we're known to be legacy builders. That's why we're called Bishana's Legacy. We're here to build families' legacy while we build our own. So the plan is to build wealth and protect it. You got to build it and protect it. And the only way that we could protect wealth, because that's the plan, is through estate planning. Right? We got to do estate plan. If there's no estate plan in place, how can you protect the wealth? How can we protect our clients' wealth? Number one, every one of our clients must have a will. Because they got to document all of their wishes and desires. So we do that for every one of our clients. We help them to establish their will. Number two, we help every one of our clients establish a power of attorney. Who's going to be appointed in charge when you can't make decisions? If you are not in a position to make financial decisions or life-changing decisions for yourself, or even for your children, God forbid you passed away and you didn't have a will, or you put someone in place to take custody of your children, then you leave that in the hands of the court. So you got to establish will and a power of attorney. And then number three, we help to establish a health directive for our clients. What are the procedures that you want to take place for you when it comes to your health? You got to have those things in writing. And then number four, we help our clients to establish a trust. That could be an irrevocable or a revocable trust. But that trust is to protect your assets. That trust is to protect your assets. So like I said, are these things that we're going to do one by one? We're going to work on these things simultaneously. So that's the reason why we do a financial needs analysis for our clients. We do a financial needs analysis for our clients, gather information, build that rapport, put together that strategy and that plan for them. So that way we can put together this financial plan, right? This is the ultimate plan. And we're going to structure that for our clients. And that's what we do. This is what we do as financial educators and business coaches. This is what financial planning looks like. This is how we execute. Because if we're not able to do this for our clients, how is it that we're doing a good job for our clients? If we can't give this to our clients, then what is that you're giving them? Just a product? Never get into the habit of selling products. Don't sell products, sell financial planning. Don't sell a product, sell financial planning. Because every human being that we sit down with must know why. Every human being must learn how. Every human being must have a goal. Every one of our clients must have a plan. If you're not giving these four things to your client is receiving nothing. How are you doing a good service for your clients if you can't take the time to do a needs analysis, gather information, do right things, do what's right for your client, and then put together a financial plan for your client so your clients can win the money game? What's the use of you always winning with commissions and you fail to complete the mission? That's not what we do here. We help clients and we help them to win the money game at all costs. And that's the reason why we make sure that families have not just a financial product, but they also have a financial plan, right? And that's the type of mindset that I want you guys to have, especially when you're working with families. Because families work hard for their money, guys. Family work very hard for their money, and they need us to do what's right at all times. You know, when I worked with Swan Wynn, he always said something, and it's always been the philosophy. He said that, and he embedded this in us: do it right, and do it right the first time. And that's a philosophy that I carried with me, even from World System Builders, even here at HGI, because it's always about the client. It's always about the family. It's always about the client. It's about what can we do for families. It's all about financial education, financial literacy. You know, one of the things that we encourage families to do is to read, right? Read the Conquer Your Future book, right? If you read this book, you know, one of the things I always say is that 1 page a day keep poverty away, right? 1 page of this book will teach you how to keep poverty away every day. Every day should be like a read. The same way I read my Quran every day, it's the same way you should read the Conquer Your Future book. Because 1 page of this will keep poverty away. It will teach you concepts, financial concepts that you should learn and you must know. Because the goal is to win the money game. You can't focus just on the commission and not include the mission. You got to do the mission to receive the commission. You got to do the financial planning to provide the financial services. They all go hand to hand. And that's why I want to encourage you. Don't just be a life insurance agent. Don't just be a recruiter. Don't just be a salesperson. Don't sell it, tell it. Don't show it, teach it. And it will happen. It will happen. It will come in abundance. If people know where to put their money, they put it there effortlessly. You don't got to sell what people need. You got to convince them of why. Just show them, teach them, educate them. And they will make those decisions for themselves. So I wanted to just share that. And we're going to work on this more and more, because this idea, this concept, it needs to be understood. You don't have to sell what is needed. If you sell it, then you're learning something called master persuasion. I don't have to persuade people to do anything. I just educate them. Just educate people, and people will let you know, yes, I want this, but I can't do this. Yes, I want this, and I can't do this. Life is about choices. If you provide more choices, people will make more decisions. But if you're selling a product, some gonna buy, some gonna say no. But if you provide choices, people will say yes, not right now, maybe so, maybe no. But I guarantee you won't always get a full no. Because when you provide choices through education, people understand the difference between you, the life insurance agent, the financial advisor, and you stand out. So I'm not knocking any life insurance agents or financial advisors. I'm just saying do what's right for people at the end of the day. And do it right the first time. So that way you don't have to do it a second time, right? So I just wanted to share that. I just want to give that understanding. I hope it helps. And I hope you can use it and execute.